Hi guys, in the same way that the Irish government didn't handle the housing crisis over the last decade, the Tories are ready to blame immigration for the lack of available homes during their 13 years in power. It's deeply frustrating that politicians of all stripes can easily jump on blaming others for their own failures. It also highlights the massive problems in journalism which permits governments to blame somebody else when they are responsible for making sure that social and affordable housing is built. Here Michael Gove, the Levelling Up Housing and Community Secretary, blames immigration for the current pressures on housing.
Do you fundamentally accept and do you believe that we don't currently have the amount of housing sufficient for the number of people coming in to the country?
Yeah, in fact, I think actually the situation is if anything worse than you depict. It is the case that the migratory flows put more pressure on housing, but we haven't built enough homes overall for generations.
You have been in power for 13 years. You have been in power and you haven't built enough homes. It's as if he's a member of the opposition here. Like, I really don't understand, and I really don't understand why the journalists didn't say, hey, wait a minute, Michael, who has been in power for the last 13 years? Who is responsible for the lack of social and affordable housing? You are! Your party! You can't turn around now and say, well, you know, successive governments haven't built enough housing. You are in charge. This is beyond absurd. The fact that a government minister is being interviewed and talking about a lack of housing. The Irish government do the same thing. Say, oh, there isn't enough housing. But don't worry, in the future, we will resolve this problem. You've been in power for 13 years and you haven't resolved the problem. Now, of course, it's very convenient just to blame immigration. Well, if you're blaming immigration, it means that you haven't planned. You did. This is, of course, a Brexiteer. This guy was saying, you know, vote for Brexit, it'll bring down immigration. It actually did the opposite. So either he didn't know that immigration would actually go up because of Brexit, or he lied. But either way, he can't get off the hook by saying, well, it's not our fault, it's because of immigration. It's your fault either way, as a Brexiteer and as a government minister, as a member of the Conservative Party. You can resign, Michael Gove, if you say, look, this housing issue is such a disaster, I'm going to resign as a member of Parliament because my government, my party is not doing anything to solve it. It's beyond ridiculous.
This government is going to hit its target of 1 million new homes in this Parliament.
Now, that seems to be disputed, but even if it were the case, it's not enough. Like, there's no point in saying we're going to hit our target by the end of the Parliament. People can't find homes now. People are paying massive amounts of rent because of a lack of supply. There's no point talking about, well, don't worry, you may be struggling at the moment, but everything will be fine at the end of the Parliament. I need to pay my rent now, or I need to pay my mortgage now, or I need to be able to find a home now. It's not about the future.
But we do need to go further. And earlier this year, I outlined a long-term plan for housing, which will allow us to build more homes, particularly making effective use of brownfield land.
Why didn't you do this 13 years ago? Why are you talking about this now? Once again, this is a big problem. No pushback from the media. No, wait a minute, Michael. You have been in charge. Your party has been in charge for 13 years. Why are you only talking about this problem now? This has been a problem for years. It's beyond ridiculous. You have a government minister being interviewed. He's not been asked about his party's time in power. And he's not been pushed back on, you are responsible for this. You are ultimately responsible whether how social and affordable housing is built. It's also in regards to private property development as well. But when we really want to focus on the main problem, a lack of social and affordable housing, the government is in charge here. If they want to build them, they will build them. But the Tories have, of course, outsourced their responsibilities to the private sector. Why should we build social and affordable housing? Let's just let private property developers do it. And in many cases, the private property developers sit on the land waiting for the price to go up to make a profit. Are the Tories going to do anything about that? Of course not, because a lot of them are donors to the Conservative Party. So when Michael Gove talks about, oh, we're going to do this thing in the future, well, first of all, it's no good in the future. It needs to be done now. And second, you have been in power for 13 years, and you're taking money, your party's taking money from people who prefer to have a lack of supply because it benefits them. It's beyond ridiculous. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.